This podcast is part of the Famous Original Podcast Network family. You can find us by going to www.fopnet.biz.
All over. Contains strong language, strong opinions, and strong beers. It is not meant for children or for those who think they are children. You know who you are.
Trust me, I'm like a smart person.
Welcome to episode 97 of Dumb All Over. Recording from even $1 on the toll is too much to enter Pennsylvania. This is a progressive podcast with brash opinions on politics, religion, and pop culture. We're always under the influence of craft beer, and you fucking know that's the truth. On this week's episode, we will talk about Michael Cohen, Paul Manafort, Trump and taxes, Putin and Ted Cruz. Yes. All of that happened in this week. Yep. And more. We will then find out what has been going on in the world when our UK World and Not America reporter, who happens to be one singular person, Stephen, comes by via Skype. And then that's it, because there's going to be a lot to talk about. As always, I am Tom. I am joined from... I am joined by my co-host who's from another place, Austin.
Wow, that was belabored.
Was it?
Hey, what's up, Tom?
It was fine. I'm doing well. How are you, Austin?
I'm good. I'm back in a place that's slightly more sane than Pennsylvania.
Slightly more sane, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
I think I'm ready to go. So let's.
Are you? Okay. Good.
Well, I have one bone to pick with your intro.
Well, what's wrong with my intro?
You said all of those things happened this week. I think 90% of the things you mentioned happened today.
Oh, that's true. Let's see. The Michael Cohen, not Paul Manafort didn't. The Trump attacks did. Putin did, and Ted Cruz did not. But yeah, you're right. Most of that happened today. Literally today, Thursday.
Yes, our new recording day, by the way.
Yes, it is Thursday.
Listening. Yeah.
It's okay.
No, don't you do it, goddamn it.
Thursday. All right. So, Austin, what are you drinking today?
Well, I have taken a page out of Stephen's book.
Oh.
And I'm having some nice hot tea.
Ooh, okay.
But
wow.
I happen to put a special type of honey in it, so...
What's the honey, Austin?
I'm guessing about halfway through this episode, I'm going to be very relaxed.
Oh, no! Wait, I didn't know they could do that with honey.
Oh, yeah. I've found out over Thanksgiving break they most certainly can.
Uh-oh. Well, this will be interesting. I have gone the exact opposite route. I'm not drinking still because I'm, for the most part, fairly sober, and I'm enjoying that life. It's really weird waking up with not a headache. I'm not used to that. But I am drinking an energy drink. However, it is a different type of energy drink. It is from Monster, but it's their coffee energy drink.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, how different could it be if it's still from Monster? But yeah.
So it doesn't taste like an energy drink. It tastes more like one of those prepackaged Starbucks cold coffees. So
yeah, I had the only good like cold coffee from a can that I've ever had was it was Bob Marley's, actually.
Oh, I'm sure. Of course, I'm sure it was wonderful, Austin.
No, it didn't have weed.
Did it have your special honey?
No, it didn't.
Did Bob Dylan get his hands on it first?
No. It was really good. I don't know. It's Jamaican coffee.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Maybe it does have weed in it. I don't know. I got it from Weiss, so I don't think it could.
Probably not. Probably not then.
But it was really good, yeah. All right, but I know we have a lot to talk about, but before we move on, how was your Thanksgiving?
Oh, is this our first episode back from Thanksgiving?
It is our first episode back.
Oh,
yeah.
It feels like a year ago. Thanksgiving. Oh, yeah, we didn't talk about this.
No, we did not.
Austin, Thanksgiving was, well, listen, okay, first of all, we're not doing Twitter time this week, so we have a little extra time here. All right. Thanksgiving was amazing.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, it was fantastic, man. So, like, I'm not going to talk too much shit because I think my uncle actually listens to the show. So, what up, uncle?
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is really bizarre. But I don't think he listens because I know he doesn't listen because of the policy, because he's pretty much, what did I exactly call him? I called him a cocksucker of Rush Limbaugh. Because what ended up happening during dinner,
It's not a whole lot of work, though.
well, during dinner, it was like fine, but
Okay.
my grandmother makes her own wine. Okay, and it's really strong. It's like 100 proof. it's like rubbing alcohol, but in wine.
Okay.
So my uncle's like drinking, and as all of a sudden we go from talking about sports and music, and all of a sudden
boy.
he gets quiet, and his face like sinks, and then he's just like, "Man, it's sad." And I'm like, "What? What the fuck? What just happened?" Everything just got morbid. It's like, it's just so sad. And I'm like, "What's sad?" He's like, "The neighborhood. It's just not there anymore." I'm like, "Oh no. Here we fucking go." And he used the words "these people" about 12 times in the first 2 minutes after he hit that wall.
Oh, boy.
And I just lost my shit. Because this was the first time that I've dealt with it without alcohol. And I was like, oh, I'm going to have a nice level head. Oh, I flipped out on him.
Yeah, it's not as fun.
No, it's not. It's really difficult. And the whole day starts off by me going to my grandfather's house, because my grandmother and my grandfather are divorced. And I get
Okay.
to my grandfather's house, and as soon as we walk in, he's like, "Hey, somebody shut the TV, change the channel. The liberals are here," because he had Fox on. I was like, "Well, thank you. I appreciate you turning that off." But
Yeah,
he
that's
followed up with a comment by saying, like, "We're not smart enough to understand it." It's like, wait.
It's not smart enough to understand Fox News.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
My off the boat Italian grandfather, by the way, immigrant, by the way. Just want to say that.
Ask him what bilateral disarmament means.
Listen,
Tom's like, I don't even want to answer that question.
I don't even want to. I will say this: the food was fantastic. My grandmother, who's the sweetest person in the world, who's battling cancer right now, she cooked way too much food. Sent me home with a fridge full of stuff.
Oh, boy.
So so I'm about, and I'm not joking. I'm not joking. 4 days ago, well, whatever it was before Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
I weighed myself and I was like 217 pounds, which is the lightest I've been in a long time.
And then-
Yeah, I'm 229 right now.
Wow. That is a lot over one meal.
Yeah, I gained like 12 pounds in a week. So
Jesus Christ.
so I'm about to die. I'm not joking, by the way. I weighed myself and I'm like, oh God. This
Wow.
is bad.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a good week though. I'm enjoying my life a lot more than I have in the past few months. It's been fantastic. How about yours, Austin? How was your Thanksgiving?
I had a very interesting Thanksgiving. Well, first, I think I spent far too long in Pennsylvania. I came in too early.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, you did. You did.
And,
You came in very early.
Yeah. And one of the days we were there, I had dinner with a friend of mine who was nice enough to give me said honey that I'm having now.
So dinner also
And,
means deal.
I didn't pay anything for it. So.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And I also was nice. He was nice enough to give me this peanut butter cup with a little extra in it.
Oh, yeah, a little extra peanut butter in there, right?
Exactly. And so I decided before I had to have dinner with my mom's side of the family that, I'd have it.
Oh, smart man. Okay.
Because most of them are insufferable. But boy, did it hit me right when we were at the table.
Oh, did it really?
I felt like my whole world just stopped and everything was moving in slow motion. And
Oh, no.
but I didn't hear any of the horrible things I'm sure they said, so.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah,
So that
that's a
was
good
better.
thing. Yeah. Okay, so you pretty much made the sequel to Half Baked, and you just decided to call it Fully Baked. You've been like
I
fully
think I was
baked.
fried. It was a bit much. I was like, Jesus Christ. What the fuck did he give me?
You're probably just sitting at the table like laughing the entire time.
No, I was like deadly serious.
you were like a zombie.
Yeah.
Okay.
And because I was really paranoid, because kind of the way we have dinner is that, like, we'll go in and eat, and then people kind of just show up as the day goes on. And, you know, once you're done eating, you kind of get up and move out of the dining room and into the living room.
Sure.
But I didn't think I could get up.
I've been there before.
And I was like, oh, please don't make me move, because I don't think I can stand.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then I moved my arm a little bit, and I could feel, like, I swear to God, I could feel all the muscles.
Uh-oh.
Like, every movement.
Oh, man.
So funky.
Did you get to the point where, like, because I've been in this point where you get so out of it that, like, people are talking to you, and you can almost, like, hear yourself responding, but you know you're not actually talking. Did you get to that point or no?
Almost, yeah.
Really?
Almost. Luckily, I don't think anybody was really saying anything that interesting, so.
Well, at least you got to miss most of it. You see, I was aware for all that, and it was just...
I know.
Both our families are such pain in the asses.
Yeah, half my family, but then my dad's side of the family is a lot of fun, so.
Well, yeah, not mine. Both of my families suck. Yeah, it's actually really...
That is not fun.
No, it's awful. Yeah, holidays suck. That's why everybody's like, oh, fuck that. I don't give a shit. Because it's miserable to me. Like Christmas, everybody's like, even after all that, you know, because it's still an Italian family, so it's still family first. My uncle, who we got into like a fucking argument at the dinner table, he's like, hey, you coming over for Christmas? I'm like, fuck no, I'm not coming over for Christmas. I'm like, I can't do that twice in a year. Jesus. My God, they're just so... I'm going to keep my thoughts to myself. Just fuck those stupid people. That's what they are. I love my grandma, though. She's awesome.
That's good. Well, at least there's one person.
Yeah. And she's always the one. She's just like, oh, please, and don't talk about the politic.
Tell her it's not your fault. It's not my fault, Grandma.
It's never my fault. I never, ever started. I'm always the one that's just like, let me just eat my good food and go
I never
home.
bring it up, ever.
But I'm not going to sit back and let my racist uncle fucking talk about these people like that and then make homophobic slurs. And it's like, he hates everybody. It's so weird to me that he hates everybody.
Yeah.
No, the Russians moved into Queens. The Indians moved into Brooklyn. Oh, there's gay people there. That person's not white enough. I'm like, what is going on? I just don't, I can't. Oh, God, I hate holidays.
No, I know what you mean, yeah.
Anyway, cheers, Austin.
That's right.
I flicked the can because I have nothing else. All right. Austin's starting to get his high on right now. I want to hear the sip.
Oh, yeah, I've sipped already.
Oh, we're fantastic. Trump report.
Have I done a good job? Have I done a good job?
Not at all. Probably the least of anybody you've ever met.
There's nobody that understands the horror better than me.
If Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her.
All right, so listen, if you're one of those people who are like, yeah, they call it the Trump report, but they never talk about Trump, don't you worry. We have a lot of Trump stories today.
Yeah, you're gonna get your fill.
Yeah. Wow. Where should we start? All right, I'll let you pick. Even though we had an order in the intro, I'll let you pick. We could talk about Cohen. We could talk about Paul Manafort. We could talk about how Trump's office has been raided, or we could talk about Trump and Putin. What do you want first?
All right. Well, let's start with Manafort, since I think chronologically his was earlier in the week.
Very good. Paul Manafort's nonstop lying may have done Robert Mueller a huge favor. Mueller. It's not Mueller. It's Mueller. After lying to the IRS and lying to banks and then asking witnesses to lie to the government, former Trump campaign manager Paul Manafort also lied to prosecutors when he was supposed to be cooperating as part of a plea deal. Special Robert Mueller alleged on Monday. In a status report presented in the Trump campaign manager's criminal case, Mueller's team asserted that in spite of a plea deal promising to cooperate truthfully and forthrightly, Manafort committed federal crimes by lying to the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the special counsel's office on a variety of subject matters, which constitute breaches of the agreement. Uh-oh!
Boy.
Yeah.
He just can't help himself, can he?
No, it's getting worse. I mean, like, we'll talk about Cohen later, but Cohen's doing the right thing. Manafort is not doing the right thing.
No, and he just keeps lying.
I know.
And then he keep lying. Wasn't he under house arrest and then he was committing crimes? It's like,
yeah, he was right.
Can't you just not commit crimes for a little bit?
The first thing that he got caught for a while ago, and people kind of forgot about this, he was like ghostwriting for the Ukraine, or like the Ukraines or something like that. You remember that?
Yeah.
Like, as he was under house arrest. Like, what are you doing?
I know. Like, he was under house arrest, and I believe that is when Mueller's team wanted the judge to revoke his house arrest and put him in prison.
Yeah. It's like a murderer. Somebody gets arrested for murder, and they're on house arrest, and then he invites somebody in to kill them. It's like, what are you doing?
I have to say, I can't wait for the Netflix show, Making a Manafort.
I can't wait for this to all be over with, and then maybe like 5 years from now, we have like a documentary series like that about the Trump administration. Like, that's going to be such an amazing show. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I know you'll watch it.
Oh, it'll be
watching.
Yeah. It'll just be called Making America Great Again.
Yeah. It starts off with Trump in jail, holding the jail cells. This cell is not big enough for my giant head.
Okay, you went with head. All right.
I went with head because it's not penis.
No, I was thinking ass, but okay.
He does have a big ass, yeah.
He also has a big ass head.
He does have a big ass head. Is that a unit of measurement? Big ass?
Big ass.
Like a boatload? Like, what's a boatload as far as like a unit of measurement?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Right? Is it a ton? Is it 10 tons? Is it like 2.6 tons? What's a boatload?
It's just a lot.
What like, how big is the boat?
It's just like a shit ton.
A shit ton's a little bit less than a boatload, I think.
I think so. I think you're right, but it sounds more intense.
It does.
It's
like
like
I got a shitload.
It's like if you said like, "Oh, I had a boatload of shrimp." It's like, wow, that's a lot of shrimp.
Well, that's a lot. You just.
But then if you're like, I had a shit ton of shrimp, it's like, oh, that sounds weirdly intense.
It does.
And kind of intriguing.
But it's a little less. A little less.
Anyway, we are straying far from the Manafort.
Oh yeah, what are we doing? A podcast about politics? That's right. The standard Mueller will need to meet to prove this, to send the 69-year-old Manafort to prison for a decade on more on top of what he already faces for tax evasion, is much lower than if he would have been in trial. It's just good faith. While Manafort's failure to cooperate may deprive Mueller of answers to question only Manafort can answer, it does provide Mueller with something else that may prove more important historically: an opportunity to provide a public report on whether and how Trump's campaign sought help from the Russians. So pretty much, and this is from the HuffPo, by the way. It's a very long and in-depth opinion article from there on in. But I kind of just wanted to focus on the fact that he's been lying, and now Mueller is right on his ass. And his lies are actually like leaving a nice little trail from Trump to his old buddy Putin, who they've never met before, by the way. Even though they've met several times since they've met publicly, they've never met before. Just
never
remember
met.
that.
Never met him.
I don't know who he is. What's his name? I don't know.
Vladimir Putin? I don't even know who that is. Look, I had never met him. He was a low-level employee. Okay.
Oh yeah, I think that's another story we could be talking about, but because he's a low-level employee, Papadopoulos, he's in trouble too. I forgot. I think his sentencing started, right?
Oh yeah, that's right.
So I mean, we could talk about him. He was a low-level employee. He was like he was just like a coffee getter.
Yeah, he was an intern.
Yeah, he was just an unpaid
colluded
intern.
with Russia. He was the Russian collusion intern.
He was. Yeah, he definitely was. All right, so now you know a little bit about Paul Manafort. His constant lying is causing Trump a little bit of a headache. Not too bad, though, because everybody knew Paul Manafort's kind of a douchebag.
Yeah.
All right, so what's next, Austin? What do you want, Michael Cohen or Putin or the FBI raiding a lawyer, a previous lawyer of Trump?
All right, so let's go to the offices that were raided.
My pleasure, Austin. This comes from The Hill. Federal agents raid office of lawyer who previously did tax work for Trump. Oh, what could go wrong here?
And Michael Cohen's like, wait a second, I thought that was me.
No,
Like, no.
not. You're part of. You're a different lawyer who's very scummy.
And he's like, Michael, you never did any actual work.
Federal agents who reportedly raided the Chicago City Hall office of a lawyer who previously did tax work for President Trump. The Chicago Sun-Times reports that federal agents removed everyone from the office of the Chicago Finance Committee Chairman Ed Burke on Thursday morning, covering the floor to ceiling windows with brown paper. Oh, boy. A spokesman for the U.S. Attorney's Office declined to comment when contacted by the Sun-Times. The Sun-Times. Jeez.
not the newspaper of the Sun.
The Sun's Times. Trump and Sun's Times. The man who answered the door to the office when a reporter knocked also declined to comment. Burke's office did not immediately respond to the Hill's request for comment. Burke worked for Trump for more than a decade doing property tax work. Uh-oh. Burke's law firm of Clafter and Burke has worked with Trump's companies repeatedly to reduce the property tax that Trump Towers and other properties in Chicago had to pay.
Gotcha.
Over his 12 years working for Trump, Burke was allegedly able to cut the property taxes on the downtown tower by more than $14 million. Burke stopped working for Trump this summer, citing differences.
Irreconcilable differences.
That's the word. I'm just going to ignore that. We're going to skip over that part.
Is that really the word they used?
That was, yeah.
Oh, it's like that's what they say in a divorce.
That was a good guess.
Yeah.
Man, that was a really good guess. I thought you were reading along.
No. that's a phrase they always use when it means they can't get along with somebody.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, irreconcilable differences.
I don't know.
Also, the name of my solo cover band.
It would be. That would actually be.
Because I can't have any other band members. We can't get along.
The federal agent's appearance at the Chicago office of Burke's takes place on the same day Trump's former personal attorney, Michael Cohen, entered into a plea agreement. Oh! Which, well, let's talk about this for a second, and then we'll go on to Michael Cohen, because that only makes sense, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So what do you make of this, Austin?
It's interesting. I mean, we don't know what the feds were after, although sounds like you can make a couple guesses and probably be in the ballpark. Wrigley Field, to be exact.
I would say his Chuck E. Cheese receipts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Look, I've been there so many times. They kicked me out of the ball pit. They're like, sir, you cannot be in the ball pit. You're at least 50, okay? And I'm like, thank you. 50 is very young compared to what I really am.
Yes, he is very old, but I wouldn't want him that close to any kids. I'm just saying.
I love the feeling of those balls on my face.
Oh my goodness.
It feels so good to be surrounded by balls. Just saying.
Sweaty balls. So Trump also responded by saying that this is I'll give you a guess of what he said that this is all. What do you think he said this is?
It's either a witch hunt, fake news. Let's see. Does he have any other catchphrases that work in the situation?
Small hands? No, that's ours. Mango mousse? No, that's ours.
I'm going to say he said it was a witch hunt.
It's a witch hunt. Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah.
He just he dismissed all these claims and he says, "Oh, it's a witch hunt." So it's a witch hunt. Maybe you know what, Austin? Maybe we've been wrong this entire time. Maybe it is just a witch hunt. Maybe Manafort He's going to jail for a long time, and FBI agents are raiding offices of his former employees. And that maybe Michael Cohen just pleaded guilty for fun. He just likes
for
prison.
Fun, yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. He likes prison.
Yeah.
All in the same day. It's a coincidence, though. It's not a witch hunt. It's a witch hunt, though. It's a coincidence.
Yeah.
Or maybe not. Maybe he actually is a fucking lying sack of shit.
I think that's what it is.
Okay. Michael Cohen pleads guilty in the Mueller investigation. Trump's former personal attorney pleaded guilty to lying to Congress about his contacts with Russia for a Trump Tower project during the 2016 campaign.
God damn, I leave the country for like a couple of days, and what the fuck is going on?
It is funny, though, because I found another story that I had to add to the thing. Very nice. Okay. It is funny that every time he leaves the country, it seems like things really happen, right?
Yeah.
It's just like every
one of these
single
days, you're going to see Mike Pence is going to go on TV, and it's like, as vice president, but acting, person in charge while the president is out of the country, I've decided that we need to close the borders to all people, including the president.
Everybody. You can't come back in, Mr. President. You are no longer allowed.
Until we figure out just what the HE double hockey sticks is going on.
Oh, he would say that. That's something he would definitely say.
What the HE double hell?
President Donald Trump's former personal attorney, Michael Cohen, pleaded guilty Thursday morning in Special Counsel Robert Mueller's investigation for lying to Congress during private testimony last year about the timing and extent of his discussions about a Russian real estate deal during Trump's campaign. Cohen's cooperation with Mueller's investigation marks an extraordinary development, as he has long been a key figure, given his role in Trump's businesses, as his fixer. So, this is bad for
God.
Trump. Would you agree?
God damn it, Michael. You're supposed to be the quicker fixer-upper.
I'm going to read a little bit more from this, because this is probably the biggest story of the day for us, I think.
Oh, yeah. It might be the biggest story of the year.
It might really be. According to court documents, Mueller's team has focused on Cohen's role in Trump's business dealings, particularly a Trump Tower project in Moscow. Moscow?
Why did I give him a role? That was so stupid.
How do you say it? Moscow or Moscow?
Moscow.
Yeah, that's how I've always said it, but I heard somebody say Moscow, which doesn't sound right. The news. I was watching MSNBC, and they're like,
was it Rachel Maddow?
I don't know. No, it wasn't her. Definitely, I don't watch her show that much. During the 2016 campaign, Cohen lied about the timing of his discussions with Russian officials about the potential real estate deal. Last year, he told the House Intelligence Committee that the talks ended in January 2016, before the presidential primaries. But according to court documents, he continued talks as late as approximately June 2016. Before Trump became the GOP nominee, discussing the deal several times with Trump and briefing Trump's family members. Cohen also lied about whether he and Trump referred to as Individual One. That's what they call Trump. Individual One.
Individual One, yeah.
In Thursday's documents, discussed planning a trip to Russia during the campaign. Cohen, and this is in quotes from the document, Cohen asked Individual One about the possibility of Individual One traveling to Russia in connection to the Moscow project, and asked a senior campaign official about potential business travel to Russia, the document said.
Look, Individual One doesn't have to answer anything, okay? Whoever that person is.
By the way, didn't Trump send in his answers to some of Mueller's questions?
Yes, I wrote them all with crayon, and I sent them in.
That was also another story we could have talked about this week. If all this didn't happen today.
Part of me feels like whatever he sent in was just his, wish list to Santa. I would very much like it if you could go easy on Paul Manafort and Michael Cohen, and maybe get me a younger wife.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
or my daughter, whatever.
Oh, God, I knew I was going there. The best part of this article. Oh, Jesus. No, Tiffany, I forgot she's even a daughter. the best part of this article is actually coming up next.
Oh, boy. What is it?
Yeah, it's great. Well, I'll read something first and then we'll get there.
Okay.
Cohen did not comment while leaving court Thursday morning. His attorney told reporters that Mr. Cohen has cooperated. Mr. Cohen will continue to cooperate. Asked about Cohen's plea deal on Thursday, Trump told reporters that Cohen is a weak person and claimed he's lying. Now, hold on, because that's not the best part. This is the best fucking part.
All right, I'm excited.
In a statement, Trump's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, said that Cohen is, quote, a proven liar who is doing everything he can to get out of a long-term prison sentence. The man who lies every single time he opens his mouth called another man a liar. Mm-hmm. Oh, Giuliani. I love when Giuliani gets involved in stuff. Even if it's just one sentence. I just love it. I
would love to see Giuliani in court if it ever got that far.
Oh, it will get that far. Yeah. It's going to get that far.
Your Honor, 9/11. Okay.
Oh, man. This is in quotes from Lanny Davis, his Cohen's attorney.
Oh, yeah.
He said he's turned his life from what he did for Donald Trump. Much of now he regrets, and he would love to do redos. Well, you can't. But what you can do is put Trump in jail.
We'll take that.
Yeah, that's fine too. But yeah, this story broke today too, Austin.
Oh,
and
boy.
That was
Jesus, another one. Okay.
Yeah, and just if you think that that's a lot, as if it's just meant to be. And again, maybe it's just a coincidence. This comes from the Hill. Trump cancels plan to meet with Putin.
Sorry, Vlad.
Oh, man.
We'll have to abscond another time.
All of this, except for the Manafort thing, happened today. It's crazy. Now, according to the article, Trump is canceling the plan because of the plane that was shot down by Russia, the Ukrainian plane that was shot down by Russia a couple days ago. Now that's what Trump. That's what Trump says.
We're gonna have to cancel. You've shot down my heart.
No, I bet you in like a text, he's just like, "Oh, Vladdy, I love you so much, but they're catching on to me, and we can't keep this up." And then Vlad's just like, "No, that's it. Just no."
We're like the Capulets and the Montagues. Just kidding. Trump wouldn't know Shakespeare reference.
He's like, "I love that Bill. Bill Shakespeare is such a great guy."
It's like West Side Story, except without all the Puerto Ricans. A much better version.
Oh, well, yeah, because I got rid of them. I put them back to where they belong, Mexico.
You know why they had to live on the West Side? Because I wouldn't let them live in Trump Tower.
That would be funny, though, if he goes up, he's like, I got rid of all the Puerto Ricans and I sent them back to Mexico where they belong. It's like, wait, what? Wait, hold on.
Good, I'm glad the hurricane hit.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. But yeah, so that's all, again, we could talk about this one too, but it's just the fact that he was going to visit Putin while all this, which kind of directly leads into the Russian investigation, is going on, and then he's like, "Oh, I can't meet with you."
Maybe
Vlad.
now's not a great time to meet with Russia.
You think? You think right now is not a good time to meet with Vladimir Putin? I think it's the best fucking time to meet with Vladimir Putin.
That would have been the biggest mistake since I told OJ I'd hold on to those gloves.
Now, Trump did go on, and he did say, "I probably will be meeting with President Putin. President Putin. We haven't terminated that meeting. I was just thinking about it, but we haven't. They'd like to have it."
They haven't terminated the
I'm
meeting?
sorry.
What the fuck is he talking about?
Reading Trump's quotes is very difficult because they're not full sentences. So I'm waiting for it to go on, but this whole sentence says they'd like to have it. That's not a sentence. That's not a sentence.
No, it's not.
But that's Trump. So, but I guess he still wants to have his meeting with his little buddy over there. But it's funny that all this is happening. Also, I wanted to point out that Trump said that he only hired Michael Cohen because of a favor that he did for him a long time ago, 12 years ago.
Yeah, favor.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like, reporter, if Cohen is such a bum, why did you hire him on your payroll for 12 years and have him do so much of your dirty work? Trump, because a long time ago he did me a favor. A long time ago he did me a favor. An actual quote. He said
Jesus
the same thing
Christ.
twice. So, I mean, I'm not sure if he believes that. I'm not sure, honestly, if that's something that his brain is thinking and like, oh no, he really believes it, or he's just really caught in a corner right now. Because a lot of shit happened this week. A lot of shit happened just today.
Oh yeah,
that is going to be weighing on Trump's shoulders.
Yeah.
So altogether, what do you think? What do you think of the state of the country right now, Austin?
Well, I know at least 60% of the country is going to be very happy because that is his new disapproval rating.
Yes, that's a better way to put it than approval rating. I like it. Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, has a president had a day this catastrophic in recent history? I mean, maybe Nixon.
Yeah, maybe Nixon. Because the problem is, Nixon, if this happened during the Nixon administration, Nixon would have long been gone. Because not even this much
compared to this guy, I'm not a crook.
Yeah, seriously, not even this much happened to him before he resigned. It's bizarre. It's bizarre. But meanwhile, Trump's we checked his Twitter right before we did the show, and Trump hasn't even tweeted about this. Like, it's not gonna affect him at all. Not until he's in jail.
I'm taking my usual measured approach. I'm gonna not tweet for just a little while because you know me, the conservative tweeter.
By the way, I've joked about this a bunch of times, but I fucking mean it. He only tweets when he's shitting, because he tweeted again at 8 o'clock. He is the most regular person in the country, because he wakes up and he goes to the toilet and he tweets, because it's always at 8 a.m. It's so crazy.
God damn it. This is going to be a while, stupid Nachos Grande.
No, Big Macs. I had 17 Big Macs yesterday. This poop is going to be huge.
I thought I wouldn't go as much if I took the buns off the fillet of fish.
But I still ate them, just separately. Yeah, I know.
It's just the buns of the fillet of fish.
Just the buns.
That's like the most disgusting.
No, we talked about this before. Before we have one more quick story after this, but you brought up an interesting fact that the Whopper is older than the Big Mac.
Yeah, I know.
Which is really fucking
freak you
weird.
out?
Yeah, it's like I didn't know Burger King was around that long.
No, apparently, yeah.
I thought it was like McDonald's only for the longest time, and then like maybe the 80s. But I think you said the Whopper was like an early 60s or something like that.
57.
57. That's crazy to me.
57.
That's so crazy to me.
Yeah.
I know we just blew the minds of like half of the people who are listening. They're like, "What? The Big Mac is not oldest? Not the oldest?"
Yeah, and apparently the Big Mac didn't come around until 68.
Wow.
Yeah.
McDonald's.
Yeah.
McDonald's actually wow, that's more mind-blowing things. And then we kind of reminisced a little bit, and I told you I haven't had fast food since we decided to I think it was like our last away golf match when we were on our high school team.
Yep.
And our coach was like, "Oh, let's stop at Arby's? Wendy's.
Yeah.
It was like, "Let's stop at Wendy's."
Nobody
And
stops at Arby's.
No. And we're inside and we look and we're like, let's try this like quarter-pound Baconator. So Austin and I both got this quarter-pound Baconator.
We got the biggest sized meal too, because it was the whole.
Yeah, we did, and it was disgustingly horrible.
Oh
so
my
good.
God, yeah.
And that was the last time I ever had fast food.
But we finished it, I think.
We both finished it. Our fat asses.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna die.
I did.
Yeah. Yeah, that just shocked me back to life.
One up that, bitch.
Quick, doctor, what happened? He had a Baconator. Oh no! Get the defibrillator.
After we lost again, because I'm pretty sure, I'm just guessing that we lost.
We definitely lost. Yeah, we were the only two who could break 90.
And we didn't do it all the time.
No, I said could. I didn't say did.
Let me get one more quick story in here before we go and talk to our buddy Stephen. Stephen doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Trent Reznor. If you don't know who he is, like I didn't, I had looked this person up. He had 2 words for Ted Cruz and his 9 Inch Nails guest list request. So I guess he's like the lead. Is he the lead singer? Yeah, he's the frontman for 9 Inch Nails, who I've never heard of before. Honestly, I've never heard of them.
Never heard of 9 Inch Nails?
No,
okay.
no, I don't even know. Like, I'm assuming they're like death metal.
No, they're like
Really?
They're industrial rock.
What the fuck does that mean? What is that?
It was the 90s, and it was it's hard to explain.
I guess I just have to listen
like
to it.
elements of electronica, but
What?
also elements of like industrial noises. I don't know. You'd have to listen to it to hear. It's different, but it's not heavy metal.
Is it good?
Some of it's interesting.
Okay. Anyway, it's a short article, so I'm going to read the entire thing.
Okay.
Don't expect to see Senator Ted Cruz backstage at a 9 Inch Nails concert anytime soon.
Could you imagine seeing Ted Cruz backstage anywhere?
No.
I'd be like, quick, call the police. He's the one who killed all those people in California.
The rock group's frontman, Trent Reznor, reportedly told the audience at a show in Irving, Texas, on Tuesday that Cruz had asked to be placed on the guest list for the gig. But Reznor told him to, quote, fuck off, end quote. Video, which was shared on Reddit, showed Reznor asking for the lights in the pavilion at Toyota Music Factory to be turned up so he could check the crowd for people who voted for Cruz in the 2018 midterms. He said, raise your hand, you guys, nothing to be ashamed of. All right, just checking, he said. Cruz might be here tonight, Reznor said. He was bugging to get on the guest list, and I told him to fuck off. Reznor then claimed Cruz had attended one of their shows as a VIP several years ago, but drank all the beer and was just a pain in the ass to be around.
Well, he's lucky he didn't kill him.
I know,
Being
right?
the Zodiac killer and all.
It's unclear if Cruz ended up attending Tuesday's gig as a paying customer. He has not commented on Reznor's claims, so he was definitely there, by the way. Definitely there. Reznor has previously called President Donald Trump, who supported Cruz's election bid against Democratic rival Beto O'Rourke, quote, a complete fucking moron, end quote, end story. I just had so much fun with that story.
That was a good story.
I think it's fucking awesome. I'm gonna go and look for the video. I just want to see it. So
And then Trent Reznor was very worried when he received a cipher in the mail.
and all of his bandmates are gone. To be honest, I don't think anybody would notice.
That's true. Yeah.
What else? See, here's some other stories that we couldn't get to because this week has just been too fucking crazy. Trump's labor secretary covered for a millionaire sex abuser.
Okay.
Another day in America. Democrats overwhelmingly nominate Nancy Pelosi as speaker amid rebellion. There's not going to be a rebellion. Let's relax with that article. Democrats.
What are they, pirates?
Democrats elect younger, more moderate caucus chair over progressive stalwart. From what I understand, what's his name? He's from New York. His name is Hakeem Jeffries. He's from New York. From what I understand, he still votes fairly left. Okay. I haven't looked into this personally, but he's not Barbara Lee, who he beat. And he kind of barely beat her, but he's only like 30.
That doesn't sound great. They don't say it like that.
Barely defeated her, maybe.
Yeah. That just sounds like comments from the defendant in an Alabama trial.
I barely beat her.
Come on, that's not against the law. Not down here, anyway.
Listen, I only hit her with the butt of my gun. I couldn't have shot her.
I barely did anything.
Sir, she's missing an eye. I barely beat her. I could beat both eyes out. Oh my god. But
Want to go lynch him?
he did defeat Barbara Lee, who's just having a bad couple of weeks apparently.
Yeah.
But he's 36 years old. I think he leans decently left, just not as far left as Barbara Lee.
Which would have been better.
Which would have been fantastic.
Yeah.
I also didn't realize she was 76 years old. She does not look 76 years old.
No, she doesn't.
No. But this guy's like 36, so he's one of the younger, newer faces. So I'm guessing...
The question is, though, if he's 36 and she's 76,
yeah,
and he's not as far left as she is, what the fuck's his problem?
yeah, it's a little strange,
Yeah.
right? I think it's
Anyway, we are betraying the quick headline part of the...
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's what it's supposed to be. Let's see. Paul Ryan cast doubt on bizarre California election results, citing the impossible amount of Democratic victories.
It's not impossible.
Yeah, well, he seems to think that
Anything
California...
is possible when you let the illegals vote.
I think he was referring to Orange County because all those seats flipped. I think that's what he was referring to.
That's just because they think your party's disgusting, that's all.
That's true. Ebola is back in the news, which is not a good thing. And the outbreak has just become the second largest breakout of Ebola ever. There's already 300 plus people dead.
Where?
Fuck you, Austin. It's in the Congo. In Congo.
Well, you know what Trump would say.
What would Trump say?
He would say, "Who cares? It's in one of those shithole countries."
Yeah. It's already killed 242 people since August 1st, which is when it was declared.
Boy, even the California wildfires are like, damn, Ebola.
Well, the one that broke out in 2014, which killed about 11,000 people, still remains the highest.
Okay.
242 is the second highest, but they're fearing that if not controlled soon, it could surpass that quickly.
Jesus.
So we'll have to keep an eye out on that one as well.
Yeah.
Senate advances bill to end U.S. involvement in Yemen war after inadequate briefing on Saudi Arabia. That was a Bernie backed bill or Bernie's written bill? Which one was that?
He was a co-sponsor.
Co-sponsor, yeah. So that's good news.
Finally, I get some love in the Trump report.
And Cindy Hyde-Smith defeats Mike Espy in Mississippi's Senate runoff election, which, it's... I don't know. It's Mississippi. It doesn't matter. But this is the same chick that was talking about public hangings. I just want people to remember who that is. Yeah, I know. But that's it. That's all I got. Did I miss anything?
I'm sure we did, but we got to move on.
Man, what a fucking terrible week.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Maybe.
Right,
I don't know. It could be better.
Okay. Terrible for Trump, I guess we should say, right?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's take a break. Austin, you could do something, play music or something. entertain the plebs. And when we come back, Stephen will be on to tell us about the world. And I'm sure nothing's actually happened. It's been pretty quiet around the world. You know how I know? Because I don't watch the news from the world. So it's been quiet for me.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll be back. Okay, recording live.
Every time, Tom. The joke that never gets old, apparently.
How is it that the cognitive dissonance say that? They say recording live, and it's like, well,
recording live from Glory Hole Studios.
How are you not recording live? Isn't recording and live two separate things? Isn't it?
Yeah, it's
exclusive?
interesting. It's interesting.
Anyway.
Yep. All right, you ready?
Yep. Off you go.
Wow.
I love that.
That threw me off. That completely. I was ready to say something, and that just threw me right off.
Well, because I was so agreeable, rather than using an opportunity to take the piss out of you. Yeah.
Off you go. I felt like I was in I was being yelled at by my British grandmother. Okay.
Carry on.
All right, Tom.
Joining us now, with all his Britishness and all his Englishness and his Not Americanness, is our good friend, the Not America, UK, and world correspondent of Dumb All Over, Stephen. Stephen! How are you?
I'm not too bad. How are you two doing?
Fan-fucking-tastic. America is falling apart right in front of our eyes. So is the UK. That's the only world news that I know about.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's not going well. Yeah.
And by the way, welcome the audience back, since Tom neglected to do so. Welcome back from the break. Now Tom's just like, I'm going to have a different take today.
Yeah, change it up. Yeah,
change it. Okay. That's what it was. He's changing it up.
They know
he
we're back.
He didn't forget at all. No.
They know we're back. They're listening to us right now, Austin. That's how it fucking
but
works.
They like to be welcomed.
What if they think that we're not actually aware that they're listening to us and we're just having a chit chat and this isn't actually part of the show? They're just listening in. That's
Yeah, exactly.
They might feel like they're being rude and think, I better stop listening.
Yeah.
All right, I'll give Austin the ability to edit this if you want. So we'll put this. We'll make this like a little thing right now. Welcome back, everybody. Now, if you want to put that at the beginning, put it in the beginning. If you want to leave it there, leave it there. Who gives a shit? We're back regardless.
Oh my God, Tom, that was amazing.
Anyway, what are we drinking, boys?
Well, do you want me to go first? Or
you're the guest.
That is a change up. That's not usually the way. You've changed your house rules, obviously.
Yeah, sure. It's Thursday. We record on Thursdays now. Everything's different.
It's a new world now. The Democrats have got the House. It's a different world.
and they're still fucking up, but that's great. Anyway, go on.
Yeah. I'm drinking green tea, obviously, and this time it's got cranberry infusion in it, which I thought was time to play in. It's a little bit late, but I'm trying to play into your whole Thanksgiving thing that you do, even though it's a little bit after.
Where we celebrate American victory. Woohoo!
When you say thank you for there being Native Americans and to save you rather than kill you. Yeah.
Wait, who? Who are they? I've never seen one. You know why? Because our fucking ancestors are dicks.
Yeah, blankets full of cholera. That was a thing, wasn't it?
Is there weed in your tea?
There isn't, but there is some honey. If there's a connection between weed and honey, I don't know. Maybe somebody can tell me about that.
There might be. Austin, what are you drinking, buddy?
Well, I am also drinking green tea.
Wow, that's weird. That's really weird.
And there is weed in my honey.
Oh, okay.
Which sounds like a euphemism, but it's not.
No,
there's weed in my honey. Yeah.
What would that be a euphemism for?
We'll tell you later. When you, we'll tell you when you're old enough, Tom.
Do I have to be your age? I have to be 60?
I
am not going to be drinking anything because I had an energy drink and my heart's already like... And I'm too lazy to go get water. It's like all the way 10 steps to my right. So just going to sit here.
Your whole house you could cover if you just fell down.
Totally good. So that's it. So boys, we'll do a cheer. Ready?
Oh, okay.
Ready?
Yep. Nice.
I flicked the can again.
Again, I was going to say.
It's an empty can.
Empty can.
That's the name of my autobiography.
It's an empty can. Is that your autobiography title?
That's it. I'm an empty can. That's it.
Oh, it writes itself, doesn't it, really?
How is your tea with the cranberries and no weed, Stephen?
Well, I'm not usually much of a fan of cranberry, but this actually tastes really nice.
Good. What is it?
I'm pleasantly surprised by it. Well,
what is it that you don't like about cranberries? What do you have against cranberries?
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's where they come from, but this doesn't have the same aftertaste that cranberries have. So
I'm not looking that up or anything. Where cranberries come from?
Oh no, Tom.
Why would I?
Is that not what the tappy tappy sound I can hear is?
They're from Germany. Why are you against Germany? You have no reason to be against Germany.
Well, I'll get to that later on in the report.
Oh, okay. And Austin, how's your weed honey tea? Weed honey tea.
It's good. It's
Good.
It's good.
Awesome.
It gets
Good.
better with every passing moment.
Very good. Let's move on before Austin fucking gets blazed on us.
I don't think you can get blazed if you're not smoking.
Really? Is that right?
I think so.
I don't know smoking terminology. I used to just get high and that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if anybody can get high on honey tea, then it's Austin.
Well, yeah, it would be me.
Let's not waste any more time, gentlemen. Let's get into the Not America report.
Look, I know a lot of people give Americans a bum rap for being stupid and knowing nothing about the world, but the reality couldn't be further from the truth. As I discovered on the streets here, asking US locals about the very world their country runs.
Name a country that begins with U.
Utopia.
What's the religion of Israel?
Catholic, probably.
What religion are Buddhist monks?
Buddhist monk. Islam, I don't know.
What is the currency used in the United Kingdom?
Queen Elizabeth money. That's all I know.
Okay, Stephen. What do you got for us, buddy?
Well, just a couple of headlines in Cameroon, which is in Africa, which is the country of Africa, according to some of your presidents. Did
you say some of our presidents? Because I
forgot
feel
about that.
Because I feel like multiple presidents could have said that.
Well, that's it. I think there was one who didn't, because he knew a bit more about Africa, but the rest of them, I'm not really sure. So, out there in Cameroon, an election has been won, and amazingly, the poll official who helped oversee that election has been rewarded with a mansion off the poll winner. So that's interesting, and obviously there's no corruption going on there whatsoever. Similarly,
no corruption.
in Sri Lanka, the former president has now been named by the new president as the prime minister. So that's obviously that's nice to keep that continuity.
Hey, doesn't Russia do that in a way? Isn't that a practice?
They have to swap every so often, because they're only allowed to do 2 terms, and then they've got to swap, and then they can come back and do another 2 terms. So Russia does that as well, which is nice. Talking to people getting 2 terms, though, Michael Higgins has been re-elected as the Irish president for a 2nd term, which is good news because he's a generally decent fella, and I think he's 80-year-old poet. Who's just a generally nice guy, and he doesn't take a lot of involvement in frontline politics, but as a head of state, with representing the country with dignity, which is what a president should do. He's very good at doing that job.
What?
So,
what is that? That's not how
I don't know. I don't
head
like
of state works.
It's the subtle British humor.
yeah. I've mentioned Korea quite a few times in previous episodes, and about various people being jailed as former presidents. This time, the big name that's been jailed over there,
Dennis Rodman,
is actually one of the biggest pastors.
Dennis Rodman
of Korea. No, but he may know them quite well. But I think that's North Korea where he gets involved. This is South Korea, and this pastor who's called Lee Jae-rock. He's been jailed for raping his followers, including some of them in their teens. So
Jesus Christ,
that's very, very Christian of him. He's obviously picked that up from somewhere else as a Christian practice.
So, are we looking at the future Pope of the Catholic Church?
Well, I think if he wasn't going to be excluded based upon his skin colour, he might well be in the running. To be honest, yeah.
That would be a prime candidate. It would be a prime candidate.
Yeah. I think if only he could make sure that more of it was done in Korea and it was kind of institutional, then he'd be a shoo-in. Absolutely. Yeah.
Jeez, man. That's okay.
But talking of Christians, I'll get on to a bit more of a bigger story now, which I know is a story you're aware of. But some of your listeners might not be aware of. It's about a lady called Asia Bibi, who is a Pakistani woman who was sentenced to death for blasphemy against Muhammad.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
She was convicted back in 2010 after being accused of insulting Mohammed in a row with a group of women neighbours. Now, they were harvesting some fruits. The row broke out about a bucket of water, of all things. The women said that because she'd used a cup in this bucket of water, they couldn't touch it because her faith made her unclean. Now, her being a Christian, there's various accusations you can make against Christians, but them being intrinsically unclean, I don't think is one of them. Anyway, the prosecutors decided to rule in favour of the people who were making the accusations, and she was because she refused to convert to Islam, she was jailed, and for most of the time that she'd been in jail, she was actually kept in solitary confinement because of these alleged comments she'd made about the Prophet Muhammad. Now, she was beaten up before the police investigation, and this confession that she had allegedly made, she retracted. And really, if she'd made some comments about this Muhammad guy, really, would it have been enough to actually imprison her? Not for us, but obviously over there they feel differently. Now, interestingly, the other women were never prosecuted for insulting her faith, which is an equal offence under the blasphemy laws in Pakistan. But obviously there wasn't any bias going on there with the judicial system.
Sounds fair and balanced.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, as we'd expect from Pakistan and the judicial system over there. Thankfully, yours over there is a lot more fair and measured.
Absolutely.
You don't have judges allowing their own religious feelings to affect how they make decisions in the court.
We just ban other religions, so we don't have to worry about that.
Well, there aren't any other religions, are there? If you ask them,
no. Nope. There is just Buddhism. Not Buddhism. Sorry, it's not Buddhism. I was wrong. Somebody told me it's wrong.
It's not the one true religion.
It's not.
Trumpism, I think, is the new religion. But
finally, somebody said it.
I'll convert. I'm
down. I'm sure you would. Yeah. I mean, how can you not actually just worship that man and the ground he lies on? Let's face it, he's probably more truthful than a lot of things that are said in the Bible, to be honest. So,
I don't know.
I don't know.
I feel like I believe a talking snake a little bit more than Donald Trump. I think so. Yeah.
Fake serpent. Fake serpent.
Yeah.
So
actually,
anyway,
can we just all agree on one thing before we go on?
Yeah.
That the world would be a lot nicer without religion causing all these problems.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Thank you.
Agree?
John Lennon already said it, and no religion too.
Yeah. I'd have to agree with that. It's thankfully it is something that is dying out in particular countries around the world. It is actually getting less and less. There's more people who are atheist. There's countries where the majority of people are atheists, so that's very good, and happily that's where I live. Unfortunately, not for you. It's
it's not.
I don't know. It's pretty atheist in my house.
Yeah, just you. Yeah, just. But hopefully there'll be a tipping point in the near future within your lifetime where it'll go over to the majority. But we'll just see how that one goes, really. But over in Pakistan, obviously they're incredibly religious and like to riot about it and kill people for it. And unfortunately, although the court decided that Asia Bibi was innocent in the end after nearly 9 years, they just basically released her to a waiting mob. Now, thankfully, some people who were on her side managed to shield her from direct attack at that moment, and she managed to escape into hiding. Still, there was people on the streets trying to find her and wanting, calling for her to be murdered and all sorts of things. Now, she actually put in for asylum in other countries because she obviously realised she'd never be able to rest at ease in Pakistan.
No.
So one of the places where she did try to claim asylum from that backward country that she was living in was the UK.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it seems from some of the questions that have been asked in our parliament that there's some evidence to back that Theresa May herself intervened to actually block Asia Bibi getting asylum in the UK. Which, considering there was some of the Muslim leaders over here who were actively supporting her getting the asylum because they were trying to look like the good guys for once.
Sure.
It was pretty shameful that the Prime Minister of this country couldn't just do the decent thing just once. But fortunately, it seems to be that Asia Bibi is now in Canada, where she has been granted asylum. So she's beat you to it, Tom.
Such a lucky bitch. God damn it.
Yeah, just think of all that free healthcare she's getting that you're not.
Not just that, it's so much other stuff, man.
No, but
man, how do you go from Pakistan to Canada? That's such an upgrade.
Yeah,
that's so,
and it's amazing.
So
and all she had to do was allegedly blaspheme against the Prophet Muhammad, and you do that all the time.
Yeah, and I don't get shit for it. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Pakistan.
Yeah. Yeah. How unfair is that? Yeah, I knew you'd be outraged about that, Tom.
I am outraged.
But I thought you needed to know.
Hey, in all honesty, I'm very happy for her. That's an awesome. That's very. Yeah, that's very awesome. That she's safe and sound. Hopefully, I hope at least. Yeah,
and hopefully, slowly she'll come around to realizing that this whole religion thing is a bad idea. But it's nice to know that for once there's a story involving Christians where the Christian isn't automatically the bad guy.
Yep, I don't think that it's going to do anything to change her religious beliefs or anything, because a lot of these people, when bad things happen to religious people, I should say, they just say, "Oh, it's God challenging me. I'm trying to pass God's test." Like, no, not really.
He has it pretty easy. Like, I wish I could always be evaluated that way.
Yeah,
because whenever something bad happens, it's your fault.
I know. It's
whenever
like you get
something
fired.
good happens, it's his doing. It's like, wait a second.
Yeah, if I fuck up at work, it's not me challenging my boss or trying to see if I can pass my boss test. I'm fired. I'm just fired.
Yeah, it's no good, is it? I had to tell the mother of my daughters when I was doing good things and just generally being a decent father to the girls and things, and she'd turn around and she'd say, thanks to God for that. And I said, no, thanks to me.
Don't give that motherfucker the credit. He didn't do shit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see him coming out of nowhere just at a moment's notice with £1,000. I'm sorry, but if you're going to pray for that shit, go for it, and we'll see what happens. Yeah. So at least she's in a better place, is Asia Bibi, a better place than Pakistan, and a better place than, the United States.
Yeah. So let's be honest. I think she might have stayed in Pakistan if it was between Pakistan and the United States. It would have been a close call.
Because she'd still be in line for a lynching, wouldn't she?
Oh, yeah. Now, I have to say, as we were talking about the thanking God thing.
Like we would have let her in.
You don't follow American football, I assume. I mean, I barely follow American football, but whenever the team that wins the Super Bowl wins, and they go to interview like the star player, they almost always just sit there and like, "Oh, I gotta thank God first and foremost." And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, wow. Like, it's like, God gave me this championship. No, you stupid motherfucker. God did not give you the Super Bowl. He wouldn't know what the Super Bowl is.
Yeah, it seems pretty petty.
It's so stupid.
Yeah. Also, the referees for those games like to pull that same comedy routine where their mics cut in and out.
Oh, yeah. I don't think that's on purpose, though.
No.
They're just really bad at their job.
Because the NFL is the most profitable sport in the country, and they can't afford
buy
working mics.
Yeah, it's almost as if they don't want them. Anyway, I think it's very, very insulting to your teammates to actually, put the credit in the hands of something that doesn't exist, rather than all these men who got quite severely damaged, probably from the actual game. Because I know they wear all that padding and stuff, but it's not as good as not as manly as rugby, but there's still it's quite intensive and challenging on the body, and yet they're having to sit back and accept the credit going to this imaginary friend of the quarterback. It's a bit,
yeah. It's pretty stupid.
Insulting, but anyway. So
what else you got
from there? Germany. Now there's a good subject.
They're always up to something.
They're always up to something. Well, obviously you'll know the name Angela Merkel because she's the actual Chancellor of Germany. For now. Yeah. Well, she's announced that she is going to step down.
Yeah, great. I'm so excited.
In 2021. So it's not really going to happen anytime soon.
But still.
She said, I will not be seeking any political office after my term ends. Now, it is interesting because she's been quite a strong central figure in the politics over there that even the main left-wing party has had to come to some kind of accommodation with in order to be able to sort of have involvement in government. Her centre-right party has actually not been as right-wing as some centre-right parties in other countries, and even not as right-wing as some centre parties in other countries.
Stephen, that's a good thing. It is. Thing. I mean, coming from Germany.
She's taken a very progressive attitude on immigration.
She has.
But unfortunately, that seems to have played out against her because in recent elections, particularly the state elections in the state of Hesse, unfortunately, her own party and her coalition partner in the national government lost about 10% of the vote, which they had previously had, which has actually been part of this change in her realising that her time is up, really.
Right.
So, unfortunately, the gains that have been made elsewhere have not really come to any of the parties that you massively want them to. And then the Green Party over there, fairly progressive, and they have captured some of the vote. The Die Linke Party, which is the left party, which is the party we'd all vote for if we had to vote for any of the parties over there. They've had a slight uplift in their vote, but they're quite a small voter base anyway, so it still doesn't really register a lot. Unfortunately, the right-wing racist, almost fascist party, they've actually managed to make more of a gain in across the board, and unfortunately, it seems like that's where the tallying is coming up. It's similar to the France situation where it's everybody against the AfD, as they're called. Now, they're not quite as strong as the National Front were in the French presidential election, but it does seem like it's going to need a coalition or at least some kind of agreement for nobody to ever get into any form of coalition with them to keep them out of politics, because their vote keeps rising. And unfortunately, it is in a response to Angela Merkel's policy on immigrants, which is unfortunately. So that's caused a bit of an upset because she is such a strong figure within the EU, particularly as well.
Austin, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I wanted to point this out, just for me and Austin. According to the Selective Service Act of 1948, enacted in June of that year, created a new and separate system for the basis of the modern system. All men 18 years or older had to register for elective service. All men between the ages of 19 to 26 were eligible to be drafted. So we are good. We're not going to be drafted for World War III.
Oh, nice.
Pretty excited about that. I had to look up the draft age because it's probably going to be World War III. Germany's becoming fascist again.
I was going to say, at least there's
but the United States might join them this time.
I was going to say, at least there's no historical precedent of fascism going bad in Germany.
No. And then with this rise in fascism in Brazil, maybe there'll be a party of, that'll be the new axis. The United States, Germany, and Brazil. That's pretty formidable. What do you think?
Well, a number of the South American countries were already Axis inclined at the Second World War previously.
All right, great.
But I don't think you'll have a lot of worry, really, because, I mean, you'll probably take the same approach that you have to the previous two world wars, where you'll sort of turn up close towards the end when the tide's already been turned in favour of the good guys. So so don't worry about it.
But this time we might not be on this side.
Yeah.
Well, this is it. Yeah, I mean, Tom might end up in an internment camp because of being Italian. That's the difficulty.
No, the Italians are going to the right side as well, so I think we're going to be good. I think.
The Italians are going to the far right side. Yeah, actually,
the whole world is going to the right now. So actually, it might just be us against you.
We'll have Corbyn soon, hopefully, so we'll be all right.
Yeah, you'll be good, and you'll have Canada on your side, and that's just about it. Oh, and Scandinavia, you got the Vikings.
Yeah, and who else? New Zealand.
That's it.
New Zealand and
that's not a real country, so let's
Uruguay.
be real.
Uruguay. They're usually yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, doesn't Mexico have a new somewhat leftist government?
Oh, it does. Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah, Mexico, and they're very good military. They're famous military. Yes.
But then again,
well, look at how much of a threat they've been to us. Apparently, we've had to send our military down there.
Yeah. This is scary.
And left wing, of course, you've got Vietnam as well, and you can't win a war against them. So what chance has anybody else got?
That's true.
Well, yeah, I guess. I mean, listen, it doesn't hurt me the way that I think that was intended to hurt.
No, it's designed to hurt the people who are the ultra militarists who don't like to think that there is any chance of the USA ever losing anything, and obviously we know they've lost that, and they also previously lost against us, obviously. So
never mind. According to the History Channel, it's 37 years old. Is the we're still within the draft age, by the way. So
all those jokes about age, I think I'm getting my own back now, aren't I?
Yeah. That
I'm outside the draft age. Yeah,
that's okay, Tom. We just have to keep eating.
Yeah, we'll just be like the fattest, most unhealthy. They'll still draft us. That'll be Trump's personal guard.
They did win the last law. They did win the Second World War. Was really the tipping point was because of a big boy. So you might have a chance then, won't you?
Well, in World War I, they nicknamed our soldiers the Doughboys because they were a little bit plumper than the other soldiers because we ate a lot. So I think that actually makes us like Navy SEALs at that point, Austin. So we better get skinny really quick.
I don't know about Navy SEALs, probably more walruses, but there you go.
Okay, moving on. Next story.
Then that whole thing was ended by the Enola Gay.
Oh, that's true.
Brilliant. Yeah. Yes. So you might not have heard of something that's going on outside the USA. It's something called Brexit.
Never heard of it.
No. Basically, you might be familiar with the concept of actually giving people a vote and then doing an incredibly stupid thing with it.
No, never heard of that either.
Yeah.
We give people the vote, but not really.
We give people the.
Well, I was going to say there's this thing called democracy, which exists outside the USA.
We give people the illusion.
Yeah, well, that didn't work out so great for you this time, did it?
No. The trouble is you give people the vote and then they use it.
See, what you need is an electoral college where those people would have gotten more
illusion of a vote.
Oh no, we're taking the power back to give it to an elected chamber that's not even elected. That's a brilliant part of it. I mean, half of our legislative is actually not elected at all. It's just hereditary. So
our president is an orange. So check and mate. Go on.
Yeah, we're about fairly even. Anyway, there's finally been some developments on this Brexit thing. The UK and the European Union, they've agreed on a 585-page document about Britain's withdrawal from the European Union. And it's a legally binding text that sets out the terms of our departure. Now, it includes things like the commitments over citizens' rights after Brexit, which means that the people who are over here from Europe, who are working and studying, can continue to do so and be joined by their families. And likewise, the British people can do that elsewhere in Europe. Now, this is upsetting the xenophobes who voted for Brexit purely on the fact that they didn't like foreigners and didn't want them in our country. So that part of the deal's not really going down very well with a certain section of the Brexit voters. Similarly, there's a 21-month transition period after the UK's departure to allow for trade talks, and this means that it limits the ability of Britain to actually set up trade deals elsewhere with the likes of Donald Trump, who seems upset about it as well. And unfortunately, the rich business folk who were so besotted by the ability of the UK to make better trade deals outside of the EU have found this to be a bit restrictive and have realised that actually they're not going to do so well with their making themselves even richer than they already are. So they were the ones that voted for Brexit on that basis. And unfortunately, they're not very happy with this deal either because it doesn't quite give them what they want. Now, following that, there was the fact that some people voted for Brexit to get out of the governance of the EU. And under this draft agreement, there's going to be a period whereby we're still subject to all the EU rules and will have no power to actually get involved in changing those rules. So, of course, those people who voted for it in order to take the power back seem very disappointed with Brexit now that that's not what this deal seems to be doing. Now, there's, this also, the deal includes a fair and balanced settlement as far as the amount of money that's going to be paid to settle our bills and make sure that everything goes stably, which includes a £39 billion divorce bill, as it's being called. Now, this unfortunately is upsetting a lot of people who saw the writing on the side of a big red bus, which was talking about giving more money to the NHS, and it seems like there won't be more money for the NHS because we've got this big divorce bill to pay first. So they're not very happy with this Brexit deal either. Now, there's been a lot of the conversation about this Brexit has hinged upon the Irish border question. Now, they've now settled that they can, with the backstop, which is the fallback position if they don't sort out anything else, which looks like they can't, that's a way of avoiding there being a hard border, which would be very damaging to the economy of Northern Ireland and would potentially bring back the troubles as far as there being armed violence and stuff. Now, this backstop, it actually would make it that if worst came to worst and we didn't have another deal in place, it would mean that Northern Ireland would be subject to different rules to the rest of the UK. Now, this is very much upsetting the Democratic Unionists Party in Northern Ireland, who are the ones that are actually just propping up the Conservative government, because their basis for backing up the Conservatives was that they were going to get a good deal for Northern Ireland and themselves as part of the Brexit deal. So it seems like they're not very happy with Brexit as far as the deal goes, which isn't a good thing. Now, Theresa May has heralded this agreement as the best of both worlds, and she's now trying to portray that it's the best of bad options, and the alternative being a no deal. Her cabinet ministers obviously had a big meeting, and they all supported it until a couple of hours later when they started resigning, which is kind of just a pattern that she seems to have, that people support her deals until they actually start resigning. So Jeremy Corbyn, as we know, as a figure, somebody that I was pleased to hear that Austin would actually like to interview, because I think that would be quite interesting to hear. Now, he's described this as actually the worst of both worlds, and actually it fails all of the red lines that Labour Party put in place in order to make sure that the deal would protect the people of this country, and that is the proper people, not the rich people, but the people who actually work and live and just are on the margins of survival in this country. All the actual red lines that they put in place, they're not being covered. So the current position of the Labour Party as a party is that they're not going to support it when it goes to a parliamentary vote in early December, on the 11th of December. As a party, they're not going to support it. There will be some rebels who will vote in favour, but there'll probably only be several people. But the party as a mass will be voting against it, which could then trigger a vote of no confidence in the government. And that then could mean that if that is failed, then the Labour Party is then put in a position where they're asked to see whether they can form a government through agreements with other political parties to actually govern the country, which they might be able to do on the basis of actually working with those other parties to come up with a Brexit deal that works in agreement with these other parties. Because the Scottish Unionist Party, the Scottish National Party is reasonably well represented in Parliament, and they're quite upset that this 585-page document that was agreed between the EU and Britain, it doesn't mention the word Scotland once.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. So they're a little bit upset about it, and they're not going to vote for it either. Now, the Liberal Democrats, who are a minority party now, but are still in Parliament with about a dozen MPs, they've always been a pro-European party, so they're not going to vote in favour of this deal either.
So who the fuck wants this? Other than Theresa May, is there anyone in the entire country, all those countries, that likes this bill? Anyone?
Similarly not. There's a hardcore bunch of Conservatives who will back it just because it's the party line. They will back it. There are some that are pragmatists who will decide to back it on the basis that if they do, it could potentially bring down the government, which they're part of, and would actually spoil other plans. There are some people within the party who actually remain people who won't vote for it no matter what because they don't believe in it. There are various levels of people who want a harder level of Brexit within the Conservative ranks, from the people who are adamant that the only good deal is a no deal, to those that are wanting to actually go to a similar deal that Canada has as far as trading with the EU, or the deal that Switzerland has, or the deal that Norway has, none of which are really practical, and also there's only a smaller number of people who support this. But adding up the numbers of people who have already declared from the Conservative side that they're not going to support it, plus the majority of the Labour Party who won, and then including the other smaller parties, and now the DUP, who won't be propping up the government because this deal is so bad for Northern Ireland and their own political power there. It seems like there's virtually no chance of Theresa May getting this deal through. Wow! Now she's got so desperate as the woman, and it's amazing that she's got so desperate that she's finally agreed to have a televised debate with Jeremy Corbyn about it.
Oh shit!
Well, there goes her career.
Yeah, and you're thinking, how deluded are you that you can't make any gains on Prime Minister's Question Time? There's also the fact that the people you're going to be speaking to out there, the general populace, it's past the stage where they've got to vote on this. It's the MPs who will be voting on it. So you're not actually going to be talking to the people you need to convince. So So you're just offering yourself up for no particular reason apart from just be humiliated in public. Now, the Labour Party has said that if they, their main purpose is to actually stop this deal going through, and they're still in favour of actually carrying out the Brexit vote, that was the will of the people, so they're still going to carry it out. But if they can't get the deal amended as it is, then they're in favour of a general election. If they can't get a general election, then they are going to push, along with plenty of others, push towards having a second referendum. Which, either of those options will be fine with me. I mean, although I'm a Remainer, I would prefer for us to stay in Europe. If we're leaving and it's a deal that's negotiated by the Labour Party, at least it's not going to be one that shafts the majority of the people and the whole economy of the country. Now, the economy is going to be shafted by Theresa May's deal. Her own experts say that. The Bank of England says that. All sorts of reputable financial institutes say it. Yet she's still going along the line of this is a good deal, and she seems to be in her own world, really. And it's almost pitiful to see this. That this is a woman who is unaware that she's actually
hated.
She's actually holding the death knell of her own career, really, and that's something that she's so oblivious to. If it wasn't going to be so damaging to the rest of us, it'd be laughable.
Right.
So
yeah, I think we can actually relate on that. we have deluded leaders who don't think that anything is wrong.
Yeah, but you've got a lot more of them because you've got them in the governorships and with more power within local mayors within your cities and things. Whereas we don't have that same strength of power. That's we're a lot more the parliamentary system. It's a lot more.
Sure.
There's it's not so collected in one thing. So we've got it a bit easier than you have, thankfully. But still, this Brexit thing seems to like an incredible fuck up on the behalf of the British people, and unfortunately, a number of the people who voted for it are the people who, by the time this is all kicking in, are no longer with us because of their age. So they're not around to actually reap the whirlwind which they sowed, which is a bit, disappointing.
Yeah,
but there you go. But one person who unfortunately isn't around to actually with us anymore to actually carry forward is an elderly gentleman by the name of Harry Leslie Smith. Now, he was described as the world's oldest rebel, and he's died yesterday at the age of 95. He was son of a miner, and he lived through the Great Depression over here in the UK, and he joined the RAF in the beginning of the war, serving in World War II. While he was in Germany, he met a German girl and married her, and then they came back to the UK together, and he worked various jobs. He emigrated to Canada for a while and things, but all the way through, he was very much conscious of his own working class roots and everything. And when he retired, he decided to write his memoirs and his thoughts down in some books. Now, they were quite slow to actually gaining attention to begin with, but he detailed a lot of things to do with his early upbringing and what it was like without the welfare state, like the NHS and things. And it was when he gave a speech in 2014 at the Labour Party conference in support of the NHS, describing how common preventable illnesses had, for his quote, snuffed out life like a warm candle flame. Prior to the creation of the NHS, it was very emotive. He spoke about how his elder sister had died at the age of 11 in 1926 because of a preventable illness that now, they'd just be taking a couple of pills and she'd survive. And he then became a sort of celebrity within the left-wing movement here and in Canada. He was very active in fighting for socialism, and his books are great. There's numerous quotes that are around there from things he said. I've quoted before on here from him. He really was a standard bearer and an inspiration that very much understood what it was like to go through the rise of the right wing and the removal of the social programs that would actually support the poorest people, and he spoke from the heart on them, and it was very emotive and would get lots of people understanding what the situation was. And as I say, unfortunately, he died yesterday, and that'll be a great loss to the progressive movement across the world, really, for who he was an inspiration. So,
well, that's unfortunate news.
Yeah.
Thank you for telling us about him. I didn't really know anything about him.
I can understand, but he's he was quite popular. I mean, his Twitter account had over about a third of a million followers, and
wow.
he was very active on Twitter
Wow.
and commenting on lots of things. And even when he was hospitalised, he was as much as possible commenting on things that were going on because he'd had precarious health, obviously, within the last few years. I unfortunately, because of his ill health, I went to an event which he was meant to be speaking at earlier on in the year, and unfortunately he couldn't be there because of his health. So I missed my one opportunity. But I know plenty of people who have been in his presence and just said about how humble and inspiring he actually was, this little old man that just had very important things to say. So he's gone now, but the lessons he was trying to teach us is something that we all will carry on. I'm sure yourselves, even though you don't know you are doing the what you're trying to actually educate people about as far as what's called the progressive movement over in the States is very much what he has been speaking in favour of for decades. So as I say, it's a great loss to us in the left wing movement, but we can sort of carry on his fight. So there you go. Well, that's my total report for you, really.
Well, thank you very much as always, Stephen. Is there anything that you wanted to plug before we part ways for a while?
No, just to remind people that if they are interested in classic British cinema, then I'm on the Real Britannia film podcast on a regular occasion now. It's coming out every fortnight, it seems, with various films that we've done.
Nice.
Other than that, just to remind people to go onto your Patreon and help us have more of your quality podcasting.
Oh. And what is that Patreon link?
That Patreon link, well, it's in the show notes, isn't it? Obviously.
Yeah, it is.
And pre-recorded Tom will tell us at the end of the episode.
He will,
true.
but since it's there, patreon.com/dumbleoverpod. That's patreon.com/dumbleoverpod. Thank you, Stephen.
And I will also remind people to join the union.
Yes.
Which is,
yes, please.
is very important.
If you can.
Especially,
if you can. Yep.
Especially if, I don't know if anybody or either of you guys have heard the Daily just did an episode about working conditions in American warehouses, and it's shocking.
It is, yeah. Amazon. Good job, Amazon.
Yeah,
keeping up the good work.
Yeah, I mean, it's particularly prominent at the moment, the idea of that, because of Amazon this is their big season for people ordering gifts, and unfortunately, Amazon jobs aren't good jobs.
No.
And that's, unfortunately, the Amazon apparently, according to the latest news reports, are interested in buying some of the sites that my company that I work for might have to vacate or sell off in order to get a merger deal through. So there is a small chance that if all of this happens for the worst case scenario, that theoretically I could end up working for Amazon.
Oh, no. Well,
but it's a very small chance of it happening. But my company is looking at that I work for. Well, I say I work for them. I work against them, really. But they're looking at merging with the subsidiary of Walmart over here, and because Walmart wants to get out of the UK market. So, but they'd have to give up for competition purposes. They'd have to give up a certain number of sites, and some of the sites that they might have to sell off to competitors, Amazon apparently might be interested in. So let's hope it's not mine. But yes, absolutely, join a union, because they are the only protection you have in your workplace, and outside of the workplace, they're the most consistent movement for social change for the better that both of our countries have ever had.
Yep.
Well said, gentlemen. Well said. Thank you once again, Stephen. It might be a little bit of a gap between next time we see you.
Yes.
Because we're taking that little break after the 100th episode. But we will be in touch, of course, and we'll begin next year with... You're going to have to keep your notes. Lots going to happen in that time period. But thanks again. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll have our final thoughts.
All right, sounds good, Tom.
And so ends our big, dumb, not as corrupted as the Trump administration show. It's been fun. It's been real. And it has been real fun. It really is. Austin, what are your final thoughts?
Well, today was quite the day for Donald Trump.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah.
Would you say it's the worst day he's had as president of the United States?
Well, see, that's hard to say. I think it was the worst day for him personally.
Okay.
But it wasn't the worst. Like the worst day for the country. Probably was maybe Charlottesville, or putting the kids in cages, or tear gassing the migrants,
or Kavanaugh
which we didn't even get to talk about.
Gorsuch.
Oh yeah. Well, especially Kavanaugh.
Yeah. Gorsuch.
Gorsuch. His ideology is every bit as bad, but he wasn't accused of rape. So
it's true. It's very true. But as far as a personal standpoint, it's been pretty bad.
It has not been good for him. So really, it's been one of the best days of his presidency.
Yeah,
to be honest.
Well, yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
I guess. Jon Stewart hosted the late show or late night show, whatever it is, with Stephen Colbert. He hosted it and interviewed Stephen Colbert. Yeah, it was just like a little thing that they did. And John said, he's like, I don't think Trump wants to be president. I think he just wants the power. Like, he doesn't care about the legislation. He just wants to walk to the plane and have the photo ops of like the pictures being taken of him looking like a mob lord. I think he referred to him. So, and I kind of agree with that. I feel like,
I was going to say, I think there's a lot of truth there.
Yeah, I don't think Trump cares if he's no longer the president tomorrow. I really don't. I
think you're right.
As long as he doesn't end up in jail, he's just going to be the same guy.
Although that he wouldn't like.
What?
Being in jail.
No, I don't think he would be too fond of that. I don't think he'd do well. I don't think he'd do well. No, he wouldn't do well. What else you got?
I think, well, of course, I want to thank Stephen for coming on.
Sure. Thank you as always.
I know every time he comes on, he tries to convince us that stuff goes on in the rest of the world.
Doesn't happen. It's all fake news. It's fake international news.
But at least it's entertaining, so we'll give you that, Stephen.
It is.
It's infotainment.
Infotainment, yeah. It's something I would say by accident.
That could be his podcast, Infotainment by Stephen.
Infotainment, okay. I'll listen to it. Fuck it.
Just kidding, Stephen. He brings more substance to this show in, like, the half hour he's on than the 90 hours that we've done.
Half hour? Okay. Generous.
By the time I'm done with
it. Listen, there's a lot of world news. It's hard to thrust it into a 15 to half hour segment.
Yeah.
But yeah, we love Stephen.
And
I just hope that he doesn't end up like taking the Not America report and making his own podcast with it, because he could totally do that, by the way.
Excuse me,
he
trademarked.
He would have to change the name, to like
trademarked,
the slightly less Americanized politics report. Doesn't sound
way to give him the idea, Tom.
Anything else?
No, I think that's all I got.
Yeah, pretty much the same. Thanks again, Stephen. Thank you, Donald Trump, and thank you, Michael Cohen. I like to thank Donald Trump. I really do. He gives us content. It would be such a boring week. Actually, I don't know if it would be. We still could have had a lot of non-Trump stories to talk about. There was a lot of things that happened.
Meanwhile, in the alternate timeline with President Sanders, they just recently passed the free tuition bill.
They did, yeah.
The Republicans aren't very happy about it, but their kids are.
Republicans? There are no more Republicans.
No, they're there.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, they're just not very happy. And that's good for America. When Republicans are mad.
My alternate universes are a little bit different. Mine has no Republicans. No. Or if they do, they're like Tea Party sized. They're the Green Party of American politics.
Okay.
Yeah, there's only one party. It's the progressives.
Well, the Green Party is already the Green Party of American politics.
Well, the Green Party in this, they're gone. They're just non-existent.
Oh, they're gone?
Just like every ballot, they're non-existent.
Jill Stein is leading him on a voyage around the world to try to find those lost votes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And Gary Johnson's on his never-ending quest to find Aleppo. That's my alternate universe.
Oh, that'd be amazing. Where in the world is Gary Johnson trying to find Aleppo?
That would be so good.
Hello, Chinaman, come here. Where is Aleppo?
That'd be so good. I vote for a new segment on this show called "Where in the World is Gary Johnson?"
I've just set sail for 3 days. 3 days. We've landed on a strange island. I don't think it's Aleppo, but I will get back to you.
It's Sicily.
It's just Manhattan.
There's a lot of brown people here. This must be Aleppo.
He's in the Bronx.
Oh my God. I want a "Where in the World is Gary Johnson?" I'm dying. I think that's so fucking good.
It's been over 3 years, and Gary Johnson is still looking for Aleppo.
His searches have taken him all the way to the tip of North America, all the way to the bottom of South America, but he's in the wrong continent.
But nowhere near Aleppo.
Oh my God. That was good. That broke me down.
Yeah.
That was good. I'm actually crying. I have nothing else to contribute.
No. Don't worry, Gary. We believe in you. One day you'll find it.
And it ends up being like a 20-season saga.
Yeah. And he just ends up getting killed by an indigenous tribe like that stupid missionary.
It's the only show that ends worse than Lost. It's the only show because he never fights it. Oh my God. All right.
Well, on that note.
Yeah, on that note, have a good week. We are, wow, what are we, 2 episodes away from the 100th episode?
Oh, wow.
And Austin and I
right.
still, I'm gonna let you in on a secret. We still don't know what we're doing.
Nonsense. We have a highly controlled plan.
Yeah.
And we don't know what we're going to do.
At this rate, we're just going to do a regular episode. And we'll just call it the Spectacular.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. We'll figure something out. We have 2 more weeks to do that.
Oh, that'll be the episode where we charter a plane to Aleppo and bring Gary Johnson. I'll show it to you, Gary. Come on.
No, because he would get out of the plane, walk down. There's a big sign that says, "Welcome to Aleppo." And he's like, "This isn't Aleppo. Let's get back on the plane."
Well, the problem is it's not in English.
Yeah, right. He's like, "What is that character?"
Yeah.
Oh.
And then he tries to talk to the people there, and he's like, "I don't speak your language. I'll stick my tongue out at you and roll it up." Is that your language?
God, he is one of the stupidest people I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Would you rather Gary Johnson over Trump? Honestly.
Oh yeah, because if he tried to bomb Aleppo, at least you would know where it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't sound like he knows where any of the foreign country and foreign cities are.
Well, isn't that the libertarians? Like it's like America. They don't care about the world.
First.
I don't know. Is that
sounds familiar?
I don't know. Yeah, it does.
The
sound
slogan
familiar.
of Trump and Nazis of the 20s.
It's true. Of the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 90s, 2000s. Yesterday.
Is that the neo-Nazi radio station? Neo-Nazi hits of the 20s, 30s, 40s, and now.
Long overplayed are the Sieg Heils. Now it's the All Hail President Trump. It's a sing-along, too. Get your kids involved.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. Have a good week. We'll be back next week, 1 week closer to 100.
And we're sorry for all of this.
Yes. Our apologies.
Yeah.
With our 100th episode right down the road, Austin and I were thinking that we have that phone number that's never, ever, 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 ever been used. So, what better time to use it than right now? If you want, you can call this number and leave us a message for our 100th episode. And if you do, we will play it on the 100th episode.
Yep.
That sounds pretty fair. What do you think?
That sounds great. Yeah, I like it.
All right. So the phone number is 802-735-2112. So give us a call and leave us a message, and we'll play it on our 100th episode. I think that'll be a little bit of little fun interaction.
Yeah.
And that's it.
All right.
All right, pre-recorded, Tom. Take it away. Once again, thank you so much for listening. As always, you can find us on Spreaker.com/DumbleOverPod. We're also available on iTunes. Just look up DumbleOverPod. We are on all the social medias, starting with Twitter @DumbleOverPod, Facebook @DumbleOverPod, and of course, there's Instagram. And you guessed it, it's @DumbleOverPod. We are also on Patreon, so check out our Patreon at patreon.com/DumbleOverPod. And if you're interested in buying some merch with some special logos, you can check that out at tpublic.com/user/DumbleOverPod. Thank you, and we'll talk to you next week.
Trust me, I'm like a smart person.